Hello, my name is Chris Hitchcock, and this presentation is on designing solar panels for schools. So, solar energy is a rare opportunity to address a couple different challenges, which is rising energy costs and environmental damages. So, this project is about optimizing solar panels. A lot of people think of solar as this kind of generic term that we use, and you see solar panels around and just think, oh, that's a solar panel taking in the sun's energy. Well, it turns out there's a lot more to it than that. Depending on the size of the solar array and the orientation, you can get a lot more or a lot less energy. So for this, we were using an online tool, a computer-aided design tool called Aladdin. What this allowed us to do is model a building in 3D at a specific location on the Earth. Now, the location is very important because depending on where you are, the sun is in a different place in the sky. And in order for a solar panel to be more efficient, it needs to face the sun as much as possible, so we get as much solar energy as possible. So for the design of this project, we followed the engineering design process. So we start with kind of a question is, how does the placement of a solar panel affect the output? So what I did is create several different designs of layouts of solar panels on my chosen building. In this case, it's the Kaimuki High School Performing Arts Center. I started off with kind of basic what you think is just flat solar panels on the roof. Let's cover the whole roof in solar panels and see what happens. From there, we kind of changed the angles a little bit and got kind of varying results. The next step in the process is adjustment. Like we design, we measure, we adjust, and we retest. We're trying to make measure improvements on our system. So the program allows what's called a heliodon, which is this image in the middle, and that tracks where the sun is throughout the year. So using this, we can see exactly where the sun is going to be, and we can try and orient our panels towards that. Below that is two separate graphs, and the first graph is what I started with my solar panels. So the final system that I came up with is this image on top, and you see kind of a lot of smaller individual arrays, but what this allows me to do is position each array much more precisely as opposed to one giant panel. So even though there's less panels, we can get more energy, and this saves costs and materials. So going back to the graphs at the bottom, we have the left one. Now, the blue part on top is energy consumption of the building, which is mostly air conditioning, and the graphs at the bottom are the amount of energy our solar panels produced. Now, going through several iterations, changing the angle of the panel and the directions it's facing, we were able to dramatically change. So if you see the second graph, this is after about 5 iterations. Instead of producing way more energy, or instead of the building using a lot more energy, we were able to produce excess energy at almost every single time in the year. This is an incredible difference because it goes from having to pay for electricity because you're not generating enough as much as the building is using, as opposed to end up having excess energy, which is energy we can sell back to the grid, and it's energy that doesn't need to be created. So all in all, this kind of shows the incredible difference in energy that can be generated just by changing the angle of the solar panel. Now, this isn't always something that you can do in the real world. Sometimes there's different restrictions. I was very fortunate because this building has a big flat roof and I can angle my panels wherever. Some roofs